Welcome to Diary of an Unemployed Actor with me, Milo Dennison. Today, I am joined by the lovely Emma Bryant, who is a model, actress, comedian, and professional prankster. I
Oh
am
yeah,
looking
I've
forward to
done
hearing
that for a
about
little.
that. Well, that's I saw that too, and I'm like, oh, really interesting.
while. Yeah, it's unique.
Let's start with what got you into acting. What made you want to be an actress?
Yeah, well, I've done musical theatre when I was in school. I've been in quite a lot of productions, so I always wanted to do acting. I've always been really into drama. So was my best friend in school. We used to like come up with scripts and stuff together, which was a lot of fun. And then when I left school, I went into I studied business management, which was like cool. And I got qualified, and then I was actually the leader of a sales team for an insurance company. But I always wanted to do acting. Like that was always what I really wanted to do. So I actually got scouted for modelling. Actually, for catalogue was the first thing, and then it kind of just progressed from there. But I'd always wanted to sort of continue into acting. So it kind of went from modelling into acting. It sort of went like that, really.
So I'm curious, yeah. So you got scouted as a model? Like, did somebody
Mm.
just kind of see a picture of you, or were you like in a club and
No,
they're
it
like, hey,
was
you need to be a model?
no, it was when I was with one of my friends actually.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was really happy about that because I'm not very tall. So I thought, okay, someone actually wants me to model clothes. Yeah, it was awesome, and then I really enjoyed it. And then I thought, whilst I was in the modelling industry and I was mixing at events with like film people, I thought, you know what, I want to give this a go, and the comedy as well, because I've always wanted to be a comedian ever since I was like 9. I used to like write stand-up shows and stuff.
Mhm.
Used to be a bit silly when I was in school as well, just silly, not like naughty, just
And do you,
a bit mischievous.
okay. Did you then, was it the transition from modeling to acting that was a conscious one on your part? Like, I want to go into acting. Did you take classes, just start
Uh,
auditioning? Like, how did
no,
you
I
make that
just started.
transition?
Do you know how it actually started? I tweeted to a prank channel that I liked on Twitter, and I said I would love to do something like this. Is there anywhere I can apply? So, bit of talking back and forth, and then they got me in to do a video, and I'm not sure what they were really thinking I was going to be like, because I was a girl and a model. So I said to them very specifically, I don't want to do anything that involves being sexy or anything stereotypical. I want to do something crazy because my sense of humor is more like a dude anyway. So yeah, they got me, and they were really, really impressed. I went on to film quite a lot with that company, that channel. And then I met other people at other prank channels, so I did some. Then I like collaborated with others, did it on for my own channel, which was great. And then I ended up having a story about me went viral when I moved to Crawley, which is where I used to live. I can't even remember how they. Oh yeah, they found me on Twitter because I was like the third most followed on Twitter person in Crawley or something. So they interviewed me, did an interview about my career, and it went viral, which was really cool. And it was like literally all nice. Well, not all nice comments, but mostly nice comments.
Well, that's good, especially with
um,
Twitter nowadays, where, you get some of the worst people on the planet on there.
Oh God, yeah. I've not. Luckily, most well in the media, I've only ever had positive things written about me. I've literally had no bad press ever, which is quite a thing to
Unusual
say,
and nice. Yeah,
I
really.
guess. Yeah. So I started doing the pranks, and then I met, because some of the pranksters were like, they were actors. So I started. Well, they just like recommended me to people. Then I set up a profile on a couple of acting sites, and I went straight in, really. I didn't really do any extras work or anything. I kind of got roles because I'm very confident with auditions, and even though I was somewhat new, obviously I do know how to present myself and how to speak, and
Yeah.
they I can be quite charming. So I must have done something right, because I started getting like proper roles.
That's great. I'm curious, with the pranking, did you ever have situations where people just were really mad about being pranked? Because so I watch
Yeah.
pranking shows and stuff, and I kind of sometimes feel bad for the people being pranked. And yeah, I'm curious how that goes.
Yeah, there was an incident when we filmed a prank in an art gallery. It wasn't anything extreme, but yeah, they're very high security, and I ended up getting detained in the security office while they searched for the other guy who was in the prank, and then eventually they just let us go because it's stupid, really, isn't it? They were just keeping us there. But yeah, that was a bit annoying. And there was another time when we did a social experiment in Trafalgar Square, and it involved me throwing eggs at a woman. Who was an
Sorry,
actress.
throwing
So
eggs
it
at
involved
somebody?
me and another actress
Mhm.
throwing eggs. And somebody got really, really angry. Obviously, we weren't throwing eggs in the public. It was me chucking them at her. But yeah, I was very surprised I did not get punched by a couple of people.
Did he feel like he needed to come to her defense or something and say, like, why are you throwing eggs at this person?
Yeah, that was it. That was
Wow.
pretty much it. And then obviously when we said it's a video and it's a social experiment, he was like, oh yeah, okay, like it all made sense. But I'm not really doing prank videos now because there's so much more security in London. Also, a few people I work with got into a lot of trouble with the police, and 2 actually went to prison. Only for a little bit of time, but it's still not good. See, bad publicity for them. And
Sorry,
also,
somebody went to prison? Is that what you just said?
yeah, a couple of the guys I used to do pranks with, because
For
they
doing
did.
pranks or doing
Yeah, one
something
of them
else?
it got a bit out of hand. I can't remember exactly what it was, but something happened.
Oh, wow.
And they ended up, I think it was just to teach them a lesson, really. I don't think they've been there very long, like a
Oh,
couple of
okay.
weeks, and they were out. Um, but yeah, obviously, I do not want that to happen
Fair
to
enough.
me. But also, it's having to get people's permission to be in the video as well. Because obviously when you prank someone, you can't just then, well, it used to be a bit of a grey area. They would just upload stuff anyway and not ask members of the public for their permission. But you really should, before putting someone online, because there's all sorts of reasons. So that's obviously very tricky as well. And there's also a lot of these YouTube comedians, pranksters, mostly in America, but there are some in the UK. They just fake their pranks, like they pay actors or their friends and family to be the pranky, the person getting pranked. So it's not real, it's fake. So pranking's not got a great reputation.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it though, so I think the next time, if I'm going to do it, it would have to be on a structured TV show, actual production, where I got my back covered and I know nothing's going to go wrong.
Yeah, where there's a couple security people hidden and like,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'm not going to get in any trouble, because that's the last thing I want. I've got a clean criminal record. Although, saying that, the incident with the art gallery, I'm not sure, maybe that went onto my, no, I don't think that would have gone onto a criminal record. I wasn't arrested or anything, but it would have been quite funny, actually.
just on a board in the back office of the art gallery
Yeah, I
somewhere.
don't think I'm welcome back to that art gallery anytime soon. I
Nice.
don't particularly want to. They weren't very nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that led then to acting. And so tell me, like, your first audition. What was your first audition for?
First
Do you remember?
audition, face to face audition. Do you know what? I actually
Mhm.
don't remember.
How do you find out about auditions? I know there's like, like Star Now and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Is that usually where you find auditions
that
or?
was yeah, when I first started. I'm also on Mandy and IMDb Pro.
Okay. Hmm.
So I get a lot of, and you know what? It's word of mouth as well, because people do enjoy working with me for whatever
Hmm.
reason,
That's always
and
a
I
good
do get.
sign.
It's always a good sign, and I get repeat work from the same companies, directors and actors. So yeah, obviously not doing
Yeah.
too badly. So yeah, it's word of mouth a lot of time as well, and I'm very active on social media too.
Okay.
I'm always posting weird stuff and like my social media posts stand out because they're always a little bit
Yeah.
eccentric
Well,
and weird.
then the reason why I'm kind of asking the question is because you've done a few pretty big things. Like you did Filth, which was a big
Yeah, that was
film,
awesome. That was
Game of Thrones.
2013. Yeah.
So how did you find out about Filth and get that role?
It felt. Do you know what? It was the director of the part I was in, like the scenes I was in. I'd met him. Where had I met him? I'd met him at a networking event. And then it's with me, they were looking for like natural looking people.
How do you find? Sorry to interrupt there. We'll get
Yeah,
back to that because you see that all the time on sites looking for natural people. Like, What's a natural person?
No plastic surgery
Oh,
or
okay.
heavy tattoos or piercings. I
All
mean, it
right.
looks wonderful on
Mhm.
some people. Like, I've got a friend who's got loads of tattoos, one of my best friends. And so is her husband. And it looks great on them,
Mhm.
but it wouldn't look so great on me
I
because
see.
we're all different. And that is generally my look, is that I've
Right.
not had any surgery, any cosmetic things, and I'm 30 very soon. So I'm quite pleased with that. um, but yeah, I tend to
Okay.
get work based on the fact that
That type
I
of a look of like
am
just kind of very like,
natural.
natural look. Yeah, I understand. Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the director of Filth.
Wasn't the director. He was working on. He wasn't the actual main one.
Okay.
But then basically he contacted me and said, we got this role. Are you interested in it? And I thought I was going to get to go somewhere really exotic. Well, not exotic, but Scotland, I think, was the
Yeah.
furthest when they filmed. I think they might have filmed some in Ireland too, and
Mhm.
some abroad. But no, it was in Merton in London.
It
But
was
yeah, it was
filmed in
really cool.
London. It wasn't filmed in Scotland?
No, this
Oh, I
was
didn't know that.
filmed in London. Yeah, it
Oh,
was very cool. But there was a bit of an incident after we filmed it, when I was coming back with another actress. We went to Victoria train station, and just as we were going in through the barriers, there was some robbery, and there was some guy fleeing, and apparently he had a knife, but we didn't see that, and he ran straight past us, and there was a guy walking just to the side of us, and he knocked that guy clean over and knocked him out, and there was police and everything. I was quite terrified, and that was like one of my first shoots. And that was actually, yeah, that was after Game of Thrones. But yeah, that was really cool. And also, because I've been in Game of Thrones too, so they know I was okay with long hours and hanging around on set without getting cranky and irritable. Although saying that, Phil's actually only took about 4 hours, I think, and I can't even remember how long the scene was. Not that long, about maybe 10 minutes. But yeah, so that was good. But yeah, that was one of my first ones. Game of Thrones was obviously epic, but you know what? I've never actually watched it, and I still
really?
haven't.
Still
Not
haven't
even
even.
the episode I was in.
Oh, I've seen every episode of Game of Thrones. Obviously I couldn't place you, but
I look very different.
okay. Uh-huh.
They had me in a brown curly wig, so I didn't really look like me.
So yeah, so Game of Thrones. How did you find out about that, and what was the
Oh,
scene?
that was fantastic. So there's a model that I hadn't ever met actually, and she had a very small role in the series two, I think, maybe one and two. She'd been in both of them, I think. And she obviously got on very well with the casting directors, because then they asked, could she find um, people who looked like they could have been from that period. So she put a casting call out, but because I sort of, one of my best friends is a good friend of hers anyway, she actually like personally said, do you want to apply for this? So I said, yeah, definitely. Didn't think I'd get anything of it. Anything at all. It was a long process. I think it took about 6 to 8 months to choose, and then I found out I'd been shortlisted. But
So
okay.
so the application process, was that sending in a self tape or
Not a self tape. It was, they spoke to us on the phone.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing that was a bit like and over Skype. It wasn't the self tape, it was by Skype. And pictures and just a bit of a biography, like front sides pictures. And obviously they said photos if anyone did have tattoos, which obviously I didn't, but my friend does, so it had to be covered up. Yeah, so yeah, that was cool. But I didn't think I'd hear anything of it, because I thought, wow, how many people must have applied for this? And
Yeah.
then I was on holiday at Butlins and Minehead, no less, with my family and my nan. And I had a phone call, and they were saying that I've been given the role. It was like one of 5 roles, little roles. I was like, oh, okay. And then I thought, oh, it's just going to be like an extras role. I'm just going to be in the background. And I think that was what it was meant to be. Or featured extra, I think, because we weren't meant to be in the background. But then when I was actually there, the woman who was, I'm assuming, involved with directing the scene was like to me, okay, we like you. I was like, oh, well, that's definitely good. And then was like, would you like this? Like, we're going to give you a scene yourself. Are you okay with getting in and out of water? And I was like, yeah, if it means I'm going to get a whole couple of frames to myself, myself and
Absolutely.
be an actual character, then yeah, I'm cool with that. And when she said in and out of water, oh, she was not exaggerating. I'd say we probably did it about 40 times,
Wow.
40 takes from different angles. So I had to get in. And I was wearing like a sort of roby type, lots of jewellery as well, which all got, wet and was dripping everywhere. So I had to go in and then out and wade through all this water while still, trying to look nice with my hair and the outfit. But yeah, it was great. And there was a woman whose job it was literally just to give me a dressing gown, a new dressing gown every time I got out of the water.
Wow.
It must have had about 40, because it was at least 40 takes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so awesome. And the people I worked with, they were really nice. I made quite good friends with a couple of the women that were there. And it's just a really damn cool thing to be able to put on your CV, innit? And
Absolutely.
say,
Yeah.
yeah,
Were you just completely exhausted at the end of the day of just going in and
I
out of the water?
still went out for drinks with the casting crew, but yeah, I was in bed by about midnight. I was shattered.
And
yeah,
that was so they flew you up to Northern Ireland for that?
yeah, that was in Belfast. And I must say that the flight there and back were probably two of the most turbulent flights I've ever been on. It was scary on the way there. There was like lightning and everything.
Oh, just because of the weather and stuff?
Yeah, it was just terrible
Yeah.
weather.
I used to live in Dublin for quite a few years. And
Did you? Yeah.
yeah, and there are flights that you fly in and you're just holding onto the armrest of your seat, like because
Yeah, and when we were touching
and,
down, like, I find takeoff scary with flying, but this in Ireland, the touching down was the terrifying part because it was going boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, and that was it. They had to circle around for ages because they couldn't land. And I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I got to the hotel. Well, by the time I got to bed, and then we had to be up at like 5 a.m. So about 3 hours of sleep. Luckily, they had great makeup team and stylists. So yeah, it didn't show. Everyone else had got there about 11 o'clock, but because I was traveling furthest, because they had a lot of local people, Irish people there, I had to, I didn't get much sleep that night. But
they provided you from transportation and everything, and
oh yeah, they did. I wasn't used to that. They had
that's nice.
A limo, but it was a pretty impressive car, taxi. They picked me up from the airport and take me to the hotel, which was great. I wouldn't mind knowing what hotel it was I actually stayed at, because it was really nice. It was a really nice location, so I might go back there for old time's sake.
Yeah.
Go, do you remember me?
I was here. I was in Game of Thrones. Come on.
Yeah. When Filth came out, I just moved to Kent, and me and my friend went to watch it at the Odeon cinema. Yeah, so my friend and I went to see it, and then she was like, "You should say I'm in that film," and I was like, "No, I'm not gonna say." She's like, "I get free tickets." I went, no, because I don't really like to attract attention. Do you know what I mean? And there's me on screen, and there's me as a person. I'm actually quite reserved and low key in my private life. So okay, promise me you're not going to say anything. She said, "Going to say anything." Then we got in, went to buy our tickets, and my friend was like, "This may be a long shot." But I was please not saying. So my friend is in the film. She's actually in part of the opening credits, and then she's in a few different scenes towards the beginning. Can we have free tickets? And I was like, oh, they did let us have free tickets.
Did they?
Although they thought I was lying at first, but they did actually let us go in for free, which was weird.
See, but that's what I would have thought. I would have been like, whatever, I didn't believe you. Like it.
Yeah, they didn't. But then what did she do? She showed them a picture, or she showed something. But but then I think they charged us more for our drinks and our food. So I reckon we probably did pay the price for our tickets, because it was about £4.50 for a thing of popcorn. But that's quite standard price. But no, it just all seemed a little bit more expensive. And we had pick and mix sweets, and it came for like £6 each. So yeah, I think they just played along with it, and we still paid. But yeah, it was really cool. And then when we finished the film, and came out, apparently one of the guys had stood in there to see if I was actually in the film, and then he saw that I was actually in the film. Which was cool. But I don't like it when if people like that come up to you like, oh my god, yeah, we saw you, that's amazing, because I'm quite modest, and I'm not.
Not to mention your scene might have been cut out of the film.
Yeah, that was always worrying.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, luckily it wasn't. It was just trimmed down a little bit. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And to obviously have worked on a film with James McAvoy, even though I didn't actually meet him, they shot his part differently. But when it was all together, it looked as though he was in the scene, but he wasn't, unfortunately. But yeah, that was cool. But in general, I'm not like, sometimes you get actors that think that like they're better than they are. I'm not like that.
Have you ever worked on a project where you've had to work with actors like that? Were any of the Game of Thrones people like, ugh?
Oh no, they were lovely. No, do you know what? Believe it or not, even the main cast of that, which I actually was fortunate enough to meet, although I say now I couldn't tell you their names because I don't watch it, but there was an older guy in black, like a big black sort of thing, reminded me of like an eagle. I don't know why, but he did. And there was a younger guy who played a pirate, and that was who I was with in the scene. So I don't know if that rings any bells, but I don't know who they were. And there was a woman, but I couldn't for the life of me remember her name, but I think she's one of the main cast because I've seen her, recognised her. Yeah, have I been on set with diva actors?
Yeah.
Yes, I was in a music video. One of my first jobs, actually, because I remember it was when I lived in Kent, and I only started acting when I lived in, acting again, obviously I was a child actor as well. Well, I say child actor, theatre, not TV adverts, but yeah. So yes, it was.
So you have had a diva actor, but you don't want to name the person?
Oh no, I don't even know what their name was. It was a music video. It was just a few of the dancers.
What's funny is they probably weren't even all that famous, because sometimes you find the people that are just a little bit of famous are
I don't
the
think
divas.
Any of these were. I think they just got it. It was on Star Now, so it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like they think
like,
they're bigger than
they are.
Not,
they act like
through
an agency or anything. And I did have an agent quite a while ago, but I prefer actually to do my bookings myself. Although saying that, I've updated my show reels. I've got a drama one and a comedy one, and I've got new headshots. So I might look to getting another agency. But I found with the one that I had before, I'm not going to name who it is because they were perfectly fine. It just didn't particularly work for me because they were sort of putting me forward for like really roles that were older than what I was, because I was 24. No, I wasn't 24. I'm about. I was 26, so a few years ago. And they were like roles like a teacher and stuff, and I'm like, I'm getting when I was just applying for jobs of my own, I was getting like teenager roles. Now I thought, I don't want to be a teacher or a mum. I don't want to like my characters to be mature when I'm not even in my late 20s. Yeah. But yeah, I think if I do get an agent, it'd have to be quite, because I'm quite different from not so different from a lot of actors. I'm so different, but I mean, my comedy style is quite different. My acting style is quite different. I think what I'm trying to say as well is I didn't go to drama school, like one of these big London schools. I didn't go to any of the famous ones. I kind of just learned everything myself. And obviously I've got a theatre background anyway. But in terms of like actual acting, I don't have, I didn't go to drama school like so many actors do. So.
Well, that's the nice thing about acting, though, is you don't necessarily need to do that to make it in the business. I mean, a lot of it is based on your talent and your ability to work on a set and that kind of stuff. So, it's interesting with agents, because I've had a couple agents in my time, and you're absolutely right. You have to find the right agent for you.
Definitely.
Like my first agent, she would put me through auditions, and the character description was nothing like me. And
that's exactly the issue that I had. Yeah, I'm like, I cannot relate to this character.
Yeah, that's it.
At all.
And I get that now. They basically just is like they put me forward for anything that the description is an American accent. Right. And it's like, yeah, but you need to narrow it down just a little bit more than that. Like, I can't audition for like this 60-year-old war colonel just because he's American, like that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I got offered well, not a role, but an audition for like a woman in her mid-30s. I'm like,
Mhm.
excuse me, I'm 29. No, I was 28 when it happened. They're like, oh yeah, but I'm sure we can make you look a bit older. I was like, no, I don't want to play characters that are older than my time. I don't mind being a young single mum. That's okay,
Yeah.
because I am at the age where I could be. Thankfully, I'm not.
Mhm.
But I could play that, but not a middle-aged school teacher or a mum. Like, get out! I'm not. I'm not playing a character that's
Because you
obscenely
need to be
older
able to
than what I
relate
am.
to it as well, and actually, play the character believably, and
Yeah,
that's something that goes
definitely.
into that. Yeah, absolutely.
God, just say quickly. There's a couple of roles I've been given recently. One I'm filming in 2 weeks. Can't say much about that. Another one towards the end of the year, and they've actually captured my humour and stuff very, very well. So I know that I'm going to be really good in those roles. Not that's a bit big-headed, really good, but I mean it's suited. Like I know that I will be able to work well with that character, with the roles, because it's very sort of over the top, eccentric, high energy comedy, which is what the sort of characters that I do, because that's sort of me in real life anyway. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Ah,
I'm
perfect.
excited for all that.
So have you ever had any auditions that were just kind of really like bizarre auditions and you walk in and and by the time you leave, you're like,
Yeah.
that was just weird?
Yeah, there was one. This was probably, it was just when I'd moved to Crawley in West Sussex, so it was quite a while ago. There was a casting. It was for a music. Was it music video or DJ who made apparently some remix of the Game of Thrones. Is like the music to it, and wanted people that had been, because he'd seen that I'd been in it, so like, oh yeah, it'd be good, we'd try and get people, anyone that's big fans of it, and you'd be there, so even better. It was like, can you come and we can just meet the team? And it was the Isle of Dogs. It was really lovely apartment. It was great. But when I got there, when I went in, it was literally just a bunch of hippies just sat at a table just smoking pot, and I was like, what is this? All the curtains were drawn. It was weird, and it was harmless, but it was just these like hippies, and they're like, oh yeah, sit down, man, oh my god. And they were like, it's so blessed to meet you, it is wonderful, we are in the presence of a celebrity of Game of Thrones royalty. I was like, what is this?
Oh,
And then it
wow.
turns out, oh yeah, they offered me. Oh, sorry, I got to think now. They offered to pass me the spliff, whatever it's called, and I was like, no, it's fine. Don't worry. Like, come on, man, it's some really good shit. And I was like, it's cool. And like, whiskey? I was like, 10 a.m. We're okay. But yeah, it turns out this. I don't even know what it turned out to be. To be quite fair, it just seemed like this bunch of hippies just all got really high, and we're like, right, we just want anyone associated with Game of Thrones to hear this song. And it was well, like, I might as well say it because I don't know who they were. It was shit.
Oh, the
It
song?
was just some guy just going, oh, this is the realm, woo, and then like banging on some drums, going, hooray. And it wasn't anything. It was just like, it was mental. It was properly mental. So I can't even remember how I left it. I think I said, yeah, do you want me to audition or anything? They're like, oh yeah, we'll be in touch once we finalise the music. And then they just kept asking me, like, did I know anyone who might want to listen to the song? So really, I think they were just fishing to try it. They thought, maybe I had some connection to actual Game of Thrones, so I would like be really impressed by their music, and pass on contacts. But that's a really weird way of doing it.
How many of them were in the room? Like, I'm just picturing this room, walking in a room
Oh, it's just like a student
with
frat house, a
with the
frat
haze of
den or whatever.
smoke in the air.
Yeah, it was actually just like that, like a proper dingy, like, student lair. Do you know what I mean? It was weird. It was all like really prestigious from the outside, and then just like a shithole when you go in. But it was funny. It was weird, and I think I got quite early for that too, about like 6 a.m. Although, to be fair, that's not really early for me. I get up that time anyway. But back then, I wasn't an early riser.
Well, at least they were friendly as well, too. Like,
Oh no, they were really nice. I didn't feel like, under threat or anything.
okay.
Just thought, what the hell is going on here?
So, have you ever had that scenario? I'm curious because as a woman, like, have you ever gone in for an audition and you're just like, you know what, I feel uncomfortable, I need to leave type of a scenario?
Do you know what? I've never had that.
Oh, that's
I
good.
actually haven't had that.
Hmm.
And I don't know why, because I hear so many horror stories
Yeah,
about
yeah, I've
it.
talked to a few
I
people that have said
wonder,
that.
yeah, I wonder, oh no, it's going to sound quite bad, if it's because I'm very, like, whenever I'm discussing auditions, filming, I'm very, very professional. Like, I don't use nicknames. Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, hun, thank you, or anything. I'm not saying that people who do that seem less professional, but I mean, I'm really sharp and professional. So it's like, I do come across as somebody you wouldn't really try and take advantage of. And also, because I've got so much stuff on social media, I think they know that if they were a bit of an idiot, I'm quite quick with, I'm like calling people out if
Yeah,
they messed me around. So I
that's
think it
good.
was always like that with modeling too. People didn't really, I heard so many horror stories about what guys have done. I didn't really find that.
That's
I
great.
mean, I had a lot of issues with the modeling industry because I was in a really abusive relationship whilst I was in it, and I had a manager too that was just insane, horrible person. But yeah, I haven't found, especially not at all in acting. I mean, yeah, a couple of times modeling, but well, I felt a bit like, but I tell them straight away. I don't sort of giggle and flirt and go, oh no, don't do that. I'm like, because I was in one shoot and I was quite new, and unfortunately, I think photographers or I think this was the owner of the studio seemed to think new, young model, thick, naive. Not this one. And I was in there, and the guy was like, "Oh, he like put his hand not on my bum, but
Mhm.
like mine was just like, oh, you've got a nice body. You don't mind me touching you, do?" And I do martial arts as well, and I remember because I did it when I was younger. Then I took a huge break, and I've just started doing it now. But I was just like to him, he's like, "You don't mind if I touch you?" And I was like, "Get your hand off. Put your hand anywhere near me." I said something like, "You'll regret it," or "I'll." What did I say? Something like, "I'll drop kick you across into next Tuesday," or something like that. I remember I said, but I made it very clear.
Yeah.
And that was as well. I said, "I know what you think about young new models." I said this to him in an email after, by the way, not when I was actually there. I said, "I am not the person you try and take advantage of. I am not naive. I'm not very nice, but perhaps a little bit thick between the legos, not much going on there." I said, I'm witty. I've studied business. I'm not like a confused, unconfident, insecure, naive young model. That's not me. So I suggest that you don't try it ever again with me, because I knew I had to go to a studio again in a couple of weeks after that. And I was like, yeah, he didn't reply to me, but he kept out of my way the next time,
So the
next
next time
two
around that
times.
you
He
dealt
didn't
with
even look
him.
at me, made sure he
Okay.
wasn't there.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
never nasty to anyone, and I'm not one of these like, oh, really, like, how can I say it? I'm not rude. Like, if I don't like something, I don't behave in an undignified manner. I will just say, this is what's happened, this is why I don't like it, this is how I've been made to feel, and this is what you can do, both of us can do to ensure it doesn't happen again.
Perfect.
The way
That's
I handle things. I
yeah,
don't
I
have
think
tantrums. I don't go on rants all over social media. Like, so I think
yeah,
people know I'm not. I'm sound of mind,
yeah.
and I'm mentally healthy.
Well, that's good. That's perfect. And I think that's great advice too, like for anyone who's listening is, yeah, I mean, don't be afraid to, because I think that's what happens is people
I do
kind of
think
prey on
that,
young and or people, they're new on a set or a model
yeah, they
shoot
feel
and
like they
they yeah.
can't speak up because they'll get they think maybe it'll lose them work or lose them respect or lose contacts. No, I think people respect you more if you do speak up, but you do it in a way that's not like just getting drunk and then spewing some shit all over social media like I've seen people do and then deleting it the next day. Don't get respect by doing that. Like
Yeah,
I
you can
said,
still politely basically just say, "Look, that made me feel uncomfortable. Don't ever
yeah,
do it
I think
again,"
that's the
and
way. Yeah, because I've never been, I believe I've got quite a lot of respect from people that I've worked with. I don't go out there to cause a trouble. I'm not a diva. I'm not, I don't go out the night before and get all drunk and come in hungover. I've never had really any issues with acting at all.
oh, that's great. But let's jump over to stand up. So what
Yeah.
got you into doing stand-up? Because that's very different from playing a character. I mean, that's you up on stage.
Yes, it is. Well, I wanted to do it, and I didn't really know how to, because I didn't have material of me doing it. But luckily, I've got a friend in Kent who runs a comedy night, or we just started to run them, and he said, "Why don't you come along?" But I felt like I was getting thrown in at the deep end a bit because I was closing the, closing the first half, and it was like about 15 minutes, and I hadn't really written anything before sort of stand up, so I just wrote a bunch of stuff. And all my comedy is very unique because it's my own personal experiences, so nobody else can have that as material because it's not happened to them. But yeah, I really liked my first stand-up show. Unfortunately, there was somebody who was in the audience who I knew from my former career, who tried to make me feel uncomfortable, was just a bit of an idiot really, but I know she's got real life issues, so I'm not going to be nasty about someone who's clearly got mental health problems. But yeah, made me feel a bit uncomfortable, brought up some stuff from my past and just said it to me, and it's weird, so I tried not to think about her.
So
And then I
sorry,
got
so you were on stage doing your comedy and she was in the audience saying stuff?
no, it was just before when I arrived, and she came over to me and was like, "Oh, I remember you," in like a not very pleasant way. And all it was, it wasn't me she was describing. She was describing somebody else, but she was like, "You did this," and it wasn't me. That's what she was saying. And I said, no, that's not me. And then she like remembered who I was, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's so great to see you." But then started talking about the fact I used to have an alcohol addiction. I'm like, cool, well, this is 5 minutes before I go on stage. Thanks for dragging up the past, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Okay.
And then I went on stage and did probably one of the best performances that I've ever done, because I knew she had wanted me to feel uncomfortable. Or maybe she didn't intentionally do it, I don't know, maybe she's just thick. But you don't say to someone a few minutes before they go on stage, "Oh, good to see you not getting drunk because I remember that you were an alcoholic." It's like, dude, shut up.
Okay.
You're an
So yeah,
idiot.
so it was messing with your head before getting up, and you're kind of going through your routine and getting into that
Yeah,
mindset.
but I went on stage, and what do they say? Spitting bars is rapping. I went on stage and I did a good job. So that's I'm actually glad that was my first stand-up experience, because it was like I had the worst thing that could happen on my very, very first show. So if I dealt with that, I can deal with anything after that. And there was another blinding time in Bayswater, which was my third or fourth, no, third, have some water, stand-up show that I'd ever done. I was doing, I think it was like a 15-minute slot, 10 minutes, no, 10 minutes, I think. And then, so I was doing it, and it was brilliant. It was like one of my best shows. It's on my YouTube. I was loving it. The audience were like really, really nice. So yeah, it was really cool. And women don't always like my comedy, but the women in the audience of this one did like it. From what they laughed, and they didn't shout things or throw anything at me, so I'm assuming they at least didn't mind it. Yeah, and then halfway through, so just into like the last 7-8 minutes, some guy came in. He just walked in with like this big bag of Burger King food, just like noisily munching on his like chicken nuggets, whatever it was he had, his chips. He sat down, was like really noisily eating, and he was so oblivious to it. He wasn't even looking at what I was doing. He was just on his phone, and he had like a notebook, and he was like going for. It didn't distract me. I just carried on. I did think, what an idiot. I really hope the sound of him chewing doesn't come up on the audio when I'm editing my friend was editing the footage after. So great, Burger King man, he just carried on eating. And then after, when I went outside, I just went outside, my friend wanted a cigarette, and this guy came up and was like, "Oh, I want to say that was really good, but I will just tell you one thing, it's not cool to steal other people's material." And I went, "Other people's material? What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Yeah, just some of the stuff, some of the jokes." And I was like, "What jokes have I stolen?" And he couldn't say, like he actually couldn't say, just like, "Oh yeah, just like stuff," and he was clearly drunk. And I was like, "My friend, I'll just tell you everything I've spoken about, every single minute detail that was in that show was everything, experiences that I have had in my career. No one has had those experiences. Like, but if they have, you know, if there is a former model who was in Game of Thrones turned comedian and was voted the 86th sexiest person in the show, which was part of the joke, then I'm a little bit concerned, because someone's clearly copying me. I said, if there is someone else out there like me, I would love to know. I would really like to see where I stole this material from. And he was like, it's not cool, man. And I just thought, he's obviously drunk. And I thought, mate, he wasn't even listening to it. He was just sat there eating his fucking chicken nuggets with his milkshake all the way through. He wasn't even paying attention. So that was strange. I don't know what he meant by that, but there was absolutely, you can watch any of my stand-up. No one has got those stories, because they are my personal experiences, like the I've had on film set, that I've had growing up, that I've had in old houses, because I've lived in some weird houses in the past, house shares, seriously, very bizarre. So that sort of thing, that's what I talk about. So my stuff's really original.
Have you ever had any like really bad hecklers or anything?
I've never had hecklers. Touch wood. Touch wood. I've actually never had hecklers. I get laughs, not heckles. I've never had a bad audience, actually, which is good. Like, I've never had one where the jokes have fallen dead, thank God. Although saying that, I did do one. Where was it? Oh, was it Kent or it was somewhere? And when I was there, this woman came in and she had about 3 kids with her. I thought, why are there kids at this comedy night? And it was like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock. So it's not, and it started at 9 and I was on about 10. I thought, this isn't, no one told me there were going to be children here. Well, it had a lot of swearing in it, my act. It had jokes that certainly weren't suitable for kids. So I said to the promoter, I said, well, what do I do? And he's like, oh no, it's the landlord's kids. They hear this sort of stuff all the time. He's like, well, what's the worst you're going to say anyway? And I was like, jokes about paedophiles in there, Rolf Harris and stuff. And he was like, oh, they're not going to understand, they're too young. I was like, they're like 9 or 10, I think they'll understand. And he's like, I'll just do it anyway. And I was like, you sure? Just do it anyway. Just got them and say. So I just went up and did it, and nothing came of it. It was like, I didn't, you know, the landlord didn't go, what the fuck are you talking about in front of my kids? But that was strange, performing in front of kids. I mean, it actually threw me a little bit as well. I stumbled on a few words doing it, because I thought, well, am I going to get in trouble? Because this stuff's not family friendly. But
no, I mean, that's,
it was fine. I mean, maybe these kids are used to hearing offensive comedy on a Friday night. But yeah, that was particularly bizarre. And there was another stand-up show I did, London Fashion Week, where it was a really, really good show. Enjoyed it very much. So they kept giving me champagne. There was free champagne. And I was like, no, I can't have this. Because sometimes when I drink, I don't drink very often. But when I do, I feel drunk quite quickly because I don't drink often. So I was like, no, it's okay, I don't want the champagne. But everyone in that audience was just completely hammered. And there were loads of dogs in the audience, because they did a dog modelling for like some dog models with little toy dog, like puppy types. So it was just a bunch of people in the audience. So I was performing to dogs.
Did the dogs enjoy the show?
Oh, well, I think so. But what I was more worried about was if they were going to obviously bark, because we were recording it. But no, they're actually really good. They were silent. It was the sound of glasses getting dropped and people going, oh shit, as they like dropped glasses or threw or like knocked drinks and stuff. That was in the background. But luckily, it wasn't too loud. So the footage I got was quite good. But yeah, it was a very, very strange experience. And I went to London Fashion Week, headlined a show and performed to a bunch of drunk people and their dogs.
That's great.
It was a good show. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done really well, like associating with the right people that have kind of led you into other opportunities.
Right. Like,
yeah.
I performed. I didn't open. Another comedian opened, but I did a performance of about 10 minutes at one of Leslie Grantham, you know, the late EastEnders actor, because I worked with him on a film, on like a gangster comedy film, and when I performed I sort of wrote like a new show, and then I performed that at his premiere of the film, which was really nice. But unfortunately, not not everyone in the audience really understood stuff, because it was quite a it was like a hooligan type film. So a lot of them, I think, because it wasn't about, none of what I was saying was about football, so I don't think they understood a lot of it. But yeah, I think they didn't know what they were laughing at, because they were like laughing at random points of stuff that wasn't even funny. But you know, they laughed. That's good. It comes up on the tape that they were laughing, just not in the right time. But yeah, that was really fun. So yeah, I've done London Fashion Week, I've done Leslie Grantham film premiere, I've done, yeah, I'm pretty happy with myself. My CV is not bad.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Well, I think that's probably a good opportunity then to wrap it up here.
Yeah,
Last
definitely.
question. If people want to find you, where would they find you? Social media, whatever.
Well, I'm sure the links will be in the description below.
They definitely will
As
be.
always, the classic phrase, link in the description below, guys. But yeah, so yeah, well, literally, I'm sure you will put them. But you know, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm not on Instagram. I really don't like the site. So yeah, it's just, my website is www.officialemabryant.com. But like I said, it will be in the description. On Twitter, I think if you just type in Emma Bryant, it should come up. But my Twitter handle is @the Emma Bryant, the one and only. And on Twitter, I think if you just type in Emma Bryant comedy, it should come up. Oh, how am I forgetting YouTube? And yeah, if you just Google Emma, I think if you just put Emma Bryant into YouTube, actually, it should come up.
Yep. Or like you said, they can just click on the link in the notes.
Or they can just save themselves some trouble and click on the link in the description below the video. But yeah, oh, one more thing I would just like to add. Next week, I'm in a corporate magazine, a business magazine, which is one of the first. This is actually a very new thing for me, because I haven't ever done an interview for like a high-end corporate magazine. But this one is called it's like advice about being self-employed. And they did it as part of International Women's Day, which was earlier in the year. I think that was in March. And they wanted to interview me. They interviewed me as a young entrepreneur, and I was like, you know what? That is a really great way to describe an actor. But yeah, they liked it. So I got a double page spread in that with a nice picture and everything, and I was very, very flattered, because it's in print. It's in lawyers' waiting rooms, it's what, you know, like on the table where they have all like business magazines, is going to be there. So I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. And that's out at the 12th of August, I think. Okay. Or before. I think it's available online before. But yeah.
Perfect. What's the name of the magazine?
CEO Today.
CEO Today. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. It was really fantastic, and that was great. Thank you very much.
Excellent. I'm really looking forward to it coming out, and I hope that your audience enjoy the interview.
I'm sure they will.
I don't think I'm put up with my weird ramblings, and don't think that I'm too much of an idiot. So
no, it's great. No, it's